I do a quick overview of my little Ryobi planer. A planer in the wood shop is very handy. You can take wood that's rough cut, looks more like this, and like this, and turn it into this. Really nice and smooth. Plus, if you need something, if you need to take an eighth of an inch off or quarter of an inch off, or even a 16th, you can run it through your planer depending on, if it's wide, the width and stuff, and take it right down to just the way you'd like it. Even though a lot of my lumber I do is already planed, this cannot match a large planer, an industrial planer. So this is more for smaller things. It is very handy. This one spins at a very high rate with, I think, two knives. Yeah, two knives. So it really gives you a nice job, but you have to feed it slow. You can range, I've taken it right down to a quarter of an inch and up to, I guess, 5 inches. I don't know if I've ever done any 5 inch stuff, but very handy. Very, very handy. It is loud. I'm not going to run it right now, but this is how you can adjust it. You can turn it down. So often what I do is I know that this is where I would like it, so I might turn it up 2 notches, run the board, turn it down a half a notch, run it, down another half a notch, run it. If it's real softwood, you can take more off at a time, but if you're harder wood, you really want to go slow, like a half a turn, and maybe even a quarter when you get really close. Plus, how you take it off makes a big difference too. So the grain of the wood, so this grain, if we look at the side here, it's kind of coming up this way towards my hand. Do you see that? You see how it's kind of coming up there? Maybe all like this, maybe I showed. So in this case, I want a plane, so the cutter is going like this, shaving it like this. If I shave it like this, it'll tend to break out the wood. So the smoothest will be to go like this. So you just flip the board around and run it like this. Then on the opposite side, you often would flip it the other way and run it like this. So you don't have to do that, but to get your nicest job, you want to pay attention to the grain of the wood. And in some cases, it makes a big difference. And sometimes you can't help it. Like if there's a knot here, a big knot, then some of this grain is going like this, and some of this is going like this. So one side will plane really nice, and then it'll break out on the other side. So in that case, really the only thing you can do is just take down a little bit at a time and then try to sand the rest out or live with it. Because sometimes the knot is so beautiful in the grain of the wood, you really don't want to waste it. It's just more character. There's kind of an example right here. I don't want to pull my wood apart, but there's a knot here and the grain's going this way and that way, but it's still really cool, so I don't want to waste it. Here's another case where there's a knot and you can see the grain is going actually this way. And the planer didn't do too bad, but it feels a little rough in there. But still, it's really cool. You can see how when you sand it off and put finish on that, that's going to give a cool look. So sometimes, and here's another example right here. So this knot planed pretty good on this side, but this side it broke out. So we were probably planing like this. This was done through an industrial planer and still happens. But it's a cool effect and it's still really cool. So those are some of the things with the planer. I really like this one because I can just put the cord around it. I can pick it up and I can set it down on the floor. It's out of my way. When I want to plane, I just lift it up here. Now it is kind of heavy, but it's not unreasonable. You just have to be careful. It does go up to 10 inches wide. There are times I would like to go wider, but 98% of the time that's wide enough. and I've never had an issue. I've always gotten by with it on all my projects with 10 inches. And I do the biggest thing is don't take off too much and keep your blades sharp, and if they're not sharp, change them and have them resharpened. Or you can touch them up yourself some too, so that's another option. That's the planer.